Hey everybody, how are you doing? South Korea still doing his buttons up. How are you guys doing? Glad to be with you. There are trades. Big news, something's going down. Something's going down that we've been warning you for a lengthy time period. Yep, we've been warning you. Mark this video. As we said, September, October 2020, 19 actually, in fact, 2019 repo markets were going to visit big things coming in on to the overall markets. There was a single-digit oil call in late September, October 2020. We said the debt market will turn a year after that. That indeed happened. And you're going to mark this video. You're going to be seeing shorts of this video. You will hear further comment on this video. This is a mega FX trade that is happening right now. We have primed and made our community available and aware of everything on it. I want to make sure I'm following my own video so that I know I'm sharing screen, because I'm a bit of a thunderhead. Yeah, that's what it takes nowadays to make sure you don't get it wrong. Thank you for checking in. Where are you guys checking in from? What time is it where you are? It is here 10 minutes to the 9 o'clock hour in lovely Panama. We actually had a friend and guest coming past. Yes, we had Lynette Zhang popping past. We did a little bit of content. Watch out for a video where we chatted together over there. That'll be coming out probably on her channel. Maybe give her a subscribe. By the way, we're on 96.5. I can't believe this is actually happening. We're getting within 3.5 of 100,000. 100,000 subscribers. We love you all, my little tribesmen. I kiss all your heads. I pat you on the head. Nice to be. Good boy. Thank you for the sharing. Thank you for the likes. Thanks for getting the algo awakey. We've got 33 likes already out of 118. So 1/3 of you are delighted to hear from us, trying to bring you alpha. We are the ones that want to bring you alpha. Oh, yes, sir. Let's do it. Let's go back and find that market sniper again. So what is it all about? It's time to share a little bit of the charts. We need to show you a little bit about what's happening there. Because a key thing is happening. A key thing is indeed happening. Skip the adverts. Glad to have you. Sydney's in the house. Are we getting our Aussies? Where's our Aussies? Aussie. Yep. You are going to be playing. You're going to be playing. Who are you playing this weekend? Well, you've beaten the British in league. Let's hide that. Let's go to share. You're going to be playing rugby union. That's all I ever talk about. A little bit of Liverpool every now and then. USD Korean won. Okay, this is a big one, friends. And community knows well about it, because I've never let them forget it. And all those that want to be in are in. This is non-advisory, me talking about a little bit of naughtiness that I get up to, called trading. Yep, it's called trading. It's called utilizing the leverage, the grand game that these people are playing. We're also going to talk to you about a little bit about that AI bomb and too big to fail and the repo markets and a little bit else. So in this video, live streaming, we're going to try to talk to you about all the dangers and attack vectors are being set up. And can I also remind you, I need to also remind you of something else. This video is to tell you, there's our friend Lynn Alden. She's gone Bitcoin maxi. By the way, let's just deal with this while we're at it. A little bit of gossip, a little bit of chit chat. Imagine making an iPhone and then 20,000 imitators make a buggy, knockoff fake iPhone with a glued on Apple symbol that doesn't work properly. That's Bitcoin versus crypto. Oh dear, that's maximalism. We have some serious maximalism in the house. Imagine that. Imagine thinking that a penny farthing and a Model T Ford, the original versions, are the best bicycles for coming down a mountain and riding on a road. Oh dear, oh me. That points to a vested interest in it. Anyway, we don't want to get too sidetracked. We want to tell you about the trade that we're supposed to be talking about. That's the USD Korean won. But I find it interesting. It's quite a pity. Some people are kind of smart, kind of went full maxi, kind of went full NSA token that showed up, around about that time. Other things in terms of utility are quicker and better, I'm afraid to say. Anyway, back to our chart. What was I looking for that I started going to browsers? Anyway, let's go back. Korea. We want to see. Keep your eyes out for what's happening. You'll get the technical trade before you get the news. South Korea will be a major in the news at some point in the not too distant future. We had Drumpf go past there. The name flipper. He's dad. He didn't do it. You know, that guy that made Charles Schwab standing alongside him $1 billion in a single trade, kind of convenient. And, you know, the Larry Ellison pump by 25% and then suddenly closing all the way back down on that deal that one day we'll do a data center when you one day quantify and make money. We're going to be talking about this whole AI Ponzi-onomics. And Michael Burry, that's decided to take the other side on some of that. There's lots of fun things, but let's deal with number one. I want you to watch this. I want you to watch this there. So many of you will say, but I can't trade this. I can't trade this. Well, we have a number of places. SimpleFX, link below, right there. Certain times you need to be able to put pending orders during the time frames it opens, not always open. SCM, more regularly open on a longer period, also in our links below. Don't forget, stacking bullion and silver for physical money. Right. Did any of you see my 1,000 ouncer? That was a bigger hold than this one, but it's still not that light. This is 100. The denominations, 10, 100, 1,000. That's right, real money. You can purchase gold through pure gold on the link below, as well. The Korean one, you're going to hear and see news. I don't know what it's going to be. We can all guess. North Korea fires a missile. Trump did a terrible deal. And South Korea is another slave nation like Japan, too, supporting Ponzi America until ready to go. Sadly, it's part of the West, even though it's in the East, kind of like Japan. And there are a lot of slave nations that might be going down. Maybe that's the call. Maybe there's military. Maybe there's war. Maybe China will, rather than take Taiwan, unifies the Koreans, North and South, and you have an East Germany, West Germany period. Who knows what it is? I want you to tell me, what do you think it's going to be if this happens and we have a huge move on the dollar Korean won? So dollar will be a bit of a risk off vibe. It got very badly sold off. It's basing. We've been warning you that Dixie is going to turn and is firming. In fact, while we're waiting for our precious metals to turn, maybe a little bit more of a sell-off for gold, tiny bit more, we have been benefiting out of being dollar long. That's right. There's a season for everything against, particularly on a risk-off vibe, talking about the AI, repo markets, Cayman Islands. Oh, so much to tell you. We've spoken about some of it before. You will also get our Substack, doing a newsletter tomorrow. That will be reminding you, live trading day tomorrow. That's what I was doing. Now it all comes back to me. Why was he going over there? He was looking for the live trading day thingy-me-bob. Let's go and get it. So we leave Lynn behind for a while, and we go to that one. We think it's that one. There we go. Live trading day. I will share the link for you in the chat because all my team are sleeping. I'm on a weird part of the world, they say. They don't want to work. They want to sleep. Live trading day. There's the link. I've charged that you can book and come and be with us, and we'll follow through on what's going on. Will we get a non-farm payroll number tomorrow? I mean, the government's supposed to be closed. Do you guys know? Do you know? I don't know. Maybe we won't. Regardless, we show up for our community, and they'll all be there. And you're looking at this on a big time frame and going, what's he getting excited about? It looks like, okay, it's going a little bit up. It's nothing too big. Key levels of significance. Get us in earlier before everybody else. That means we're already in money when some of the pullbacks and the revisits occur. We are more comfortable than the rest. News before the news. Top stop loss is tighter. Less of a loss if it reverses and goes to the downside. So what's the pattern? Let's show them the pattern. Show them the pattern. Show them the pattern. Because we're talking about HVF method. That's what you will learn if you come into our community. And it's also what you will see us implement live in the markets. In fact, you could argue you're getting an opportunity to do that right now. I am telling you can go be smart with all your friends and say, I don't know, I think something negative is going to be happening in South Korea. You can say it because HVF method makes you look smart, even when you're not. Like me, for example, it makes you look smart. Something's coming. By the way, they also have weird financial leverage in their system. The Koreans do some weird, interesting stuff in their rental agreements, in all forms of things that see systemic risk build up, call options, and various other Ponzi-onomics. I think they pick it up from the Japanese from the 80s. We don't know. We don't know. We can only guess. I am watching you post. Someone's talking about Lynn's voice. Oh dear, she's never going to get away from that not too sure thing. Anyway, that's the setup. That's the setup on the Korean one, and I want to draw the upside HVF. Now, this is our draw tool. We're doing further developments in the space. We've got nothing to announce at this point, but further developments in this space in terms of what we've done already on our draw tool. It's getting exciting. We're making progress, and we're moving forward on other exciting things that our community members will have some chance of benefiting. Let's just keep refreshing until it'll allow me to do my draw tool. TradingView can sleep a little bit. Yeah, it can sleep. Let's go try one more time. We wish to add an indicator. Here we go. So what do you guys think about the too big to fail? Yeah, the AI guys with their slowly, Michael Burry's got wind of them and is shorting them. A little bit of nerves in the market, hyper overvaluation, using their stock to do a lot of things. This is the reason why we're getting excited. While we park up that topic for a second, this is the reason we're getting excited. That blue line, I don't need the blue line. We already have a green one there. There you go. The running of that green line, that is the original triggering event. Big time frame. It's not going to be tomorrow. This will probably run for a while. They'll only start leaking news once it's already now hitting the headlines, and you've got new highs for the last 10 years, new highs for the last 15 years. Oh my goodness, the Korean one is really weakening. What's happening in Korea? New highs. Then they'll come with some toe tagging narrative. Oh, it's the deal Donald Trump did with them, or something else would happen. And then you might hear some military news or something else. Who knows what it's going to be? Give me your best guess. What could create major crisis? Will it be financial? Will it be their banking? Will it be what? I don't know. We'll wait and see, but it will come. So we have reasonably high conviction that there's going to be a major event coming out. There we go. This was a little wind up. What happened? The nice thing about this is the major Asian crisis happened last time. That's right. That HVF went from there, made its target, and actually put another 2x on top of the X you already picked up in reward. Massive R over there to the target from all the way down here on very tight risk. And then guess what? You get a further 2+ Rs. There you go. There's a dodgy 2 and a few more Rs. You ended up with a total of 3 times more than what you expected to get. When the currency is being hammered and things are going bad, what tends to happen is you get absolute hammering, and the markets skip, they jump, and they do a bunch of stuff, and there's not enough bid in there. So the Korean one, it's not the yen, it's not as liquid. And if things go badly wrong for it, you can see real big moves. They will stop allowing you to put on a trade. It'll be set to close only. Warning alert. News before the news. Make sure the brokers don't keep you out of the party, especially when you're on the right side. They don't want to lose money, and they don't want to have clients making too much money in case they haven't laid it all off and they can't cover it themselves. So this is a macro upside HVF here. You've seen how it's done before over there. Major blow off. This was the Asian crisis event. It wasn't just Korea. But the interesting thing is we're seeing more of this being localized to Korea so far. I'm looking at the yen. We see 172 on the yen. Do you remember us talking about weakness of the yen? Some of you might even recall. I want to go back to that. We're going to come back to the Korean one on different time frames while you're doing it. But some of you might recall that we were talking about the Swiss franc JPY. You may even remember, I remember the number. It was 192 CHF JPYII, and we gave you that one, and it did a very good run. Let's show you a couple of things. So the yen is going to weaken a little bit, but it's having a pullback. It's not exactly in an absolute maniac-y move, but it's going to lose going to 172. Assuming it does, it's triggered very nicely. We did some time ago give you this trade. You may recall. We gave you this guy. Swiss franc, Japanese yen. And we said, you're going to make the better part. We got a wind up, and I thought we said 192. It's 189 this time. I can't remember. My brain is tricking me. So that one did very, very nicely. See the second interim run, pullback, major gap. I remember that gap. It was on Sunday. It was a Sunday night starting the new week. target made, churn here. So the Swiss franc has gained a lot of strength against the yen. What will happen? The yen, remember the yen against the dollar. So we see the dollar being one of the beneficiaries of strength. USD JPY. That's why we're trading it on the Korean won side of things. Bigger time frame, we're on a daily. Let's take it up. We're showing you FX today. We're showing you FX, special FX. Special effects. Here we go. That's set up over there. That's maybe the one that is 172. That's it. Maybe I got my numbers a bit mixed up. A little bit of a rising wedge. You made the first interim already on this. There's that Sunday gap. Pop from roughly our midpoint. That's a long way away, friends. If the rising wedge brings it a little bit of a pullback, it doesn't seem to be weakening chronically right now, like the Korean won is. I think it's going to have a real specific Korean aspect to it. And of course, you're going to have the dollar strength. And if it's really traumatic, you can see flight out of Korea into that particular currency. And hopefully, I would imagine also possibly gold. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. By the way, something else that's associated with Korea a little bit was Tron the crypto. Now, we're not going to do a crypto session with you, but sometimes there can be a run on Tron the crypto. There's also, by the way, the Kospi index. Now, when the currency goes down, it's because people are scared and they sell their offshore owners of things like Samsung, Hyundai. I do know a few names. They do make some useful electronics, our friends in Korea. Nothing too big happening in Tron. If we go back to the Kospi, we're trying to see, is there a story? Is there a story for us to potentially trade? That looks like a nasty rejection. That looks like a very nasty rejection at the moment on the Korean currency. That is not the currency, the equity markets, apologies. So let's just talk about that. We're getting not so bad on the monthly. It's a big time. It had a blow-off move of strength. We've shown before, and I'm going to show you this again, that bad news for the Kospi, which sees sell-off in the equities. There's a high foreign ownership content. Often the money pulls away in disgust out of the country entirely and maybe goes somewhere else. That not only leads to the Kospi going down, it leads to the USD Korean won going up. That means the equity market sell-offs are bad for the currency. It makes sense. So let's take that off. Let's lose that one as well. And we're going to put these on a split chart with you. So we're talking about currencies and equity indices and events. And we're asking you, what are the events? What do you think? I'm from Denton, Texas. Small world. Two of the guys are in Texas. They're making friends there. They're hooking up. Don't get up to anything dirty, especially if you're two fellas. I'd like to know it's supposed to happen on Easter 2026. I don't believe in dates. Yep. So we're talking about, let's get that, not the silver. We want the Korean won under there. USDKRW. Let's go. And let's show you this chart. We want 3 months. 3 months. Quarterly is good. That's a big chart, friends. It's a big chart. I'm going to take off that Fibonacci. Let's make this as big as we can. Cover the screen. Bring it through. It's about as far as I can go. So what are we showing you here? What are we trying to help you see and learn? Well, you're going to learn a lot more when you come to the live trading day. That's tomorrow, in case we have a non-farm payrolls, which could in fact be further advancing this trade. Here's the currency trade we were been telling about, the Korean won. That's like that and like that. Let's make sure they're both log scale. Are you log? No, that's why it was looking a bit weird. Let's make it log. Make sure this guy is log as well. Are you log? Yes, that one is log. Auto fits data to screen. Yeah, auto fits data. So what am I showing you? Way back when, many of you weren't born, I was just a wee mucker. The equity market sold off quite badly. Round about 85 through to 86. And I was barely getting my final year of school done there into the 1989 crash, which was my final period in the army. 2 years of my life taken away, 1 year wasted at a university, 2 years in the army. There you go. That whole equity climb in the Kospi was dollar devaluation in the Korean won. Then the stock market went a little bit down. There you see the Korean won is also going down because USD Korean won going up. Then you had a minor move up. It was kind of a little bit flat, a little bit off, very low vol. Then we had the events that were 1996 through to over here, 1998. 96 to 98, 2 years, real problems. 96, there it is, 96 to 98. You see the sell-off arrow that I'm showing you here, down, down, down. In case you don't think that's a lot, remember this is log scale. So the 96, you were at about whatever you were, 1200 there. And next thing you know, you're at about, on the Kospi, much, much lower. Let's just get let's get out of draw mode and show you that. These are huge crashes, guys. That low was 284. The beginning of 96, you actually had a high right up at 981. 981 on an index in stocks that ends 284 in 2 years. That is more than 66%. You're knocking on 70% stock market crash. When things go bad down Korean way, things go real bad, real bad. And what did it do to their currency with everyone dumping? You got it 780 one to the dollar, to next thing you know, 1,800, 1,900, 1,850. So that's hectic, 780 to 1,850. You're talking about a more than halvening in their currency, much more than halvening, and a 70% crash in their stinky stoink market. Note here, each time why we do it, down leg Korea, down leg Korea. By the way, you're not going to hear this from Brent Johnson. He's not going to see it. You're not going to hear it from some of these other maximalists and China fatalists and, you know, this Pax Americana Coke crowd. They don't give you useful trades. We try to do that here to help you. Watch it, be the news before the news. Trust HVF method. In HVF method, we trust. This is, remember, a quarterly chart. It's not all going to happen in one day starting tomorrow. I do think it's a good move that we're having right now. It's at a key level, and it's probably going to go to our first interim, and then it'll go quiet maybe for a few weeks, maybe a month, and then it'll suddenly explode again. It's going to come in and out of your consciousness because you don't have a big time frame of thinking. You're too dopamine addicted for right here, right now, everything must be dropped in your lap. This is going to be a trade, and then it's going to have an absolute melt-up. That ended very quickly once it started to go super fast. Look at that. This is 1 quarter. In 1 quarter, you will have a candle like that potentially. That is huge. That is such a big move. And of course, it came with equity moves over 3 quarters that took you from over there to there. It's the final capitulation. But first, it inches in our direction and confirms we're probably right before it absolutely rewards you. Look at the sell-off back to this. Oh, by the way, if you don't like HVF method, you need to look at this. So the Kospi set up an upside HVF right here. Big, beautiful first impulse here, second, third, right there. It gave us a target, and that target was made, and it made it. And where did it support when it had a pullback for the 2008 mini currency crisis? Now, it wasn't that mini, let's just say, but compared to the big one, it was not near as big. It went from sub 930. By the time you were done, it was around 1600. Okay, nearly double. Your currency lost 80%, you know, almost halved. It lost 45%. It almost halved. Your stock market, again, log scale, had a high here. High was 2085 for the index. The low on our funnel, 892. 892. That is, again, a 60% loss in the stock market. Isn't it great to have a methodology that will keep you in the loop on a major move? But it didn't happen in 1 month. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 candles. Each candle is a quarter. You're looking at a year and a quarter that stock market lost 60%. But that's pretty damn useful information. A very liquid, Well, reasonably liquid KOSPI. It's a big index. You can buy trackers and you can sell trackers for it. So what are we predicting? The KOSPI to go down. It just had a blow up move. It just had a blow off up move. We are saying something ain't right. Stock markets to go down. Is the Korean one of the first of many? Are we going to see the disinflationary, demand-destroying event stuff? Why is crypto, a leading indicator, Bitcoin, doing so poorly? If there's supposed to be so much liquidity, well, it stops getting rewarded when the people start retreating from the equity markets. They first retreat from the higher beta Bitcoin. Why? Because that stuff loses 75%. That's the reason why. You get out of the bolters first. You know, gold will lose 15% in a bad period. Crypto, bye-bye, 75%, you're left holding 20%. On Bitcoin, if you're in something else, you're losing 90, 95, okay? So you've just had a blow-off upside move, 3/4 up, and now we're starting to see the currency. Do you see, as the currency starts to trade up, the market tends to trade down. We made a long-term macro HBF that the up leg was way back here, the high was back in 1989, and the move up into that only really started in about 85. So in 85, through all the way till the triggering event, 2005, a 20-year setup, which performed and made its target. You have now done that. You had a little bit of sideways after a proper pullback. Again, not a good period for the one. You see the one trading up with the blue arrow like it did there. Stinky stock market down, then kind of sideways slightly up, but the currency was also sideways and slightly up, and then a little bit of an off candle there down. You got a breakout, but then we came back in, but the stock market was in a bit of a blow off. That's why people were still in the pumpermental mood. Now we are triggering and going for good. These don't diverge for long. This to pull back. That's on the quarterly view. That's on the quarterly view. I'm watching your comments. Ancient man watched the sky every night and learned the stars. Yes, they did, says somebody. Sounds like an interesting discussion going on there. Are any of you going to make money on it? You want to short the KOSPI, go long the Korean one, the broker's detail, have some cash when everyone else is going to be demand destroyed event. Well, we're probably going to steal all our bank accounts money coming soon. Counterparty risk, great taking. Hey, we're going to have all our shit taken off us possibly. Be careful out there. But yes, we see these moves potentially happening, and they are indeed tradable. So that's what we're looking at. Let's have a look at it on the monthly, and we can see how it's gone. See how this month has started. How many days have we had in the month? Just 6 days, and part of that's a weekend. So we've had 4 days in the month, and this baby is starting to roll over. And we're coming onto a big data day there, possibly tomorrow. And this thing is triggering. Now, the first time it triggers, 5 stages to a breakout. First, the break and feign back into the funnel. The second one should run to, at minimum, the first interim level, which is our first target level before a point of rest. So that is quite some bit higher. I'll be showing you what that price point is in a bit. Bit of rejection here, bit of rejection and starting coming down. Let's have a look at it on a weekly basis. It's even bigger on a weekly basis, both of them. So we're getting into the lower time frames now. Let's just get this properly spread out. That is a good triggering event. Unlike last time, you were already going quite quick here. That when you start going too fast, it's closer before you get the pullback, and that's why you got the chop and the churn, and then you got a huge rejection candle there. That was going to be rest. This has been very low vol, very low vol. Nice little check one way, go the other way. This is steady moving up, and a nice trigger. So this is pretty decent, and you have taken out our RH3 for the second time, and this time it should be for keeps. And at least in terms of making at first point our first interim. And at the same time, you're getting rejection on your Korean after, probably one of the most buoyant upward spells it's had in a while. That allows almost blow off levels, plus peak AI that we're talking to you about, the word's getting out. They want government too big to fail backing. It's time to buy puts on. Demand destroying event, guys. Repo markets in trouble. October. We're in October, repo markets are in trouble. This is September. October 2019 all over again. Watch out for March. Ooh, beware the Ides of March. And coming into that, we'll see more of it. I see stock market pullbacks. I see stock market pullbacks potentially coming out of this. I see a bit of dollar relative strength in the currency levels. And I see stock market pullback, a little bit of flushing into safe haven bonds. Not really, but maybe a bit of dollar benefit out of that. Also, the smart people will be buying gold too. So if that rejection starts to build further gains, like what's happening and starting to happen in the NASDAQ, the S&P, and some of the other indices, you could see if Korea is particularly troubled and problematic, especially given this recent blow off where it went from 2,300 to 4,100 plus in quite a short spell. Just this year, in fact, you could have quite a meaty pullback coming out of here, which is just seems like you're probably going to have the continuation of this Korean won trade, which will get disorderly as it did previously without bid. So that is the thesis. Foreign money, Korea relies on foreign money. It's going to do something to upset it. The foreign money is going to retreat. You're going to have selling. And by the way, a demand destroying event and a rejection in American equities going down could see foreign money come out of all homes and head home. And Korea might have a higher prevalence of foreign investment. I don't know. I'll have to check that. But I think something's coming. I think it is coming. So what else did we see? Well, you saw Sam Altman. Let's discuss that for a bit. I'll come back to just talking to you for a smidge. Sam Altman is now trying to clarify that he's not looking to be too big to fail. You know, he's not looking all of it. Well, here's how I see what's going to happen, friends. This is the prison system. This AI is the prison system for you. This AI surveillance, data centers, robotics is you're paying for your own prison system. And they get to kill not just two birds with one stone, an entire flock of birds. And in fact, I talk about vultures. In fact, you have circling vultures is a kettle of vultures. Don't you just love this phraseology? A kettle of vultures are circling over you, and you are on the menu. Your financial health is on the menu. They want to take your money from you. That's what they want to do, friends. Hit the like, 200 of you out of 440. We appreciate it, all of you checking in. So a kettle of vultures are circling. Do you know there's a different name? In fact, there's two words for when they're on the ground. When they're on the ground and eating the carcass. Do you know what they use? They call it a committee. It sounds like the Fed. A committee of vultures. And you can even say, my lovely friends, you can even say awake. How about that? So you're dead and you're getting eaten. You're on the menu. It's the vultures are here. And the repo markets are the beginning of real problems. Risk off, DDE. Crypto, alt market, no run. We need that collapse. We've suggested before to crypto people. Bitcoin got to 64 and 69 on account of first dipping to 4,000, flush out. Then she ran. And then, of course, later on, you got your alts running. So they need problem, reaction, solution. And the problem is liquidity being drained from the repo markets. We covered it in our Substack and we've spoken about it here. Cayman Islands, the hedge funds. The hedge funds now are almost 40%. You're talking 37% of all foreign holders of US treasuries. If that's not a Ponzi fraud. Let's be clear. Hedge funds aren't investors. They are speculating trading houses. And what are they doing? 24-hour repo market borrowing. In the repo market, you can borrow for 24 hours. It's what banks do to each other. If you have a lot of people making withdrawings in one bank, it just happens to be that kind of a day, you can borrow from the other banks that have excess deposits. This is the plumbing between the banks. Doesn't involve us. They're like a circle, and they have little roads and tunnels between them where they can pass shekels backwards and forwards. It's called the repo market. And what's actually happening is Goldman Sachs, Bank of America, JP Morgan, that's right, all of these characters, the primary dealers that have the unique license to issue bonds on behalf of the government. That's right, borrowing money into existence and being paid an interest therefore. The unique privilege that has turned you into slaves and made them an elite class of bosses over you. That's right. Your government doesn't have the right to do that. They've given it to a central bank so that they can get rich and pay the politicians extra money for doing what they're told. That's right. They don't work for you. They've never worked for you. Trump doesn't work for you. It's a cacocracy. He's stealing and laughing at you. He's make America great, invert it. I'm the guy that crashes and oversees the death of America. Golden era, invert golden era. Well, great for gold, terrible for your era. That's what it is, guys. You're being absolutely conned and cheated. And that's where they're going. Back to our vultures, though. They are coming for us and our wealth, and we've got to watch out. This leads to a demand-destroying event. It may be the one. The problem might be long. The reaction may be martial law, no moving around. I don't want all this. I really don't want to go back to CV19 type vibes and an aggressive government getting in my face. I'm not here to sell fear. I'm telling you to laugh at them, to diss them, and to take action to secure further wealth for yourself, protect your existing wealth and everything you're making, and secure yourself freedoms worth multiple optionality across many, many worlds. I'm here in Panama. That's right. I'm also in other places too, that allows me pay less tax, be more efficient, keep more of your own money, have it more in gold, keep it in different countries, in different jurisdictions, have community members here that come and say hi when you land, and other ones that say hi somewhere else. People that recognize the gaslighting, the psyop of this contained world that we are operating under. That's right. And we're born in it. We've been given our role. We must enjoy it and do the best with it. That's where we are. We don't cry like babies. We can run this obstacle course and still win a grand, beautiful life. And here we are, and we're going to do it. And shorting the Kospi, going long the USD Korean won, may well just help you. And in fact, if it loses 50% of its value or even more, this trade will be a rainmaker trade. It will be an absolute rainmaker. A currency trade for that amount, it'll be a rainmaker trade. By the way, you might want to be short Bitcoin and some alts. They might fall out their backside if we have a DDE. You might want to be short the NASDAQ, but we have HVF and real method. Don't go in short and trade. If you have no idea, you'll oversize, you'll get shaken out, you'll lose. You'll lose. But every now and then the moment comes. Michael Burry is short. Let's go have a look at Mickey. The man of Big Short, the man of the Big Short. Let's go have a look and see what he says, because there's been news. Don't forget the live trading day as well is out there. Thank you, Jack Lyons, for your $9.99. Thoughts on fertilizers, pandemic, then famine, then war. Please interview Michael Yon. We are in a conversation with him. We'd like to get him on. Thank you for that. We will bring him on. We are working on that one. So fertilizers, agri and productive land, and the fertilization to achieve that from whatever it is, potashes and everything else, those will become very valuable. Physical things that lead to food supply in a food supply constrained world are going to do well. Remember, however, it's starting out a monetary based collapse due to a debt fiat, same thing, fiat debt. Fiat is the paper false proxy money they give you, and debt is just delayed fiat with a rental agreement. Okay, so it's both fiat. You don't get debt to collapse without the fiat collapsing. They might take turns, but you don't. It's only Brent Johnson that wants to brag about the dollar getting strong, but never wants to talk about the debt getting weak. You can't do that. You can't. They are Siamese twins. You drown one, you drown the other. So fertilizers, I think, will do well. And I think, is it my first choice? Is it my go-to? I think coffees will do well. We've got a lot of things if you don't like gold. But in truth, gold, silver, platinum, huge, huge. We don't look too much further. And of course, miners. But without certificates, you could end up being ripped off. So let's go have a look at X again. We'll go X and we will choose to have a look at what Michael Burry's done. So he is shorting NVIDIA. Let's put it in, Michael Burry. He is shorting NVIDIA and The CIA token. Palantir keeps crashing since Burry's public filing. I think they call it a 13F document. He runs an asset management and he is essentially running his own money. And since he's announced that he is short, there's our friend on Palantir. By the way, Palantir had ridiculous ahead of its money in terms of what it's actually earning. This is Peter Thiel. Wouldn't it be nice to make money off that nervous little blood-sucking wreck that pays young people for money, paper money that he just gets given and prints up for fresh blood to extend his life? These vampires make money at the expense of the vampires. That's right. 13F, if you missed it. Short on Palantir and NVIDIA. That's right. Quite big shorts, by the way. Puts and everything. So yeah, very interesting. So this is also a little bit on the AI space. NVIDIA very much on the AI space. There's that lovely circle jerk of money with Oracle and others. I would imagine Palantir is a great potential short. Oracle could be a great short. Whom else? That's a ridiculous overbound. NVIDIA has to be a candidate. At 5 trillion. It's a real banner high. Michael Burry's hedge fund has 80% of its 1.38 billion. The guy's worth $1 billion, well through $1 billion, on NVIDIA and Palantir puts. I'd love him to put this guy to bed. Can't wait for the big short too. This Carp character is an absolute piece of garbage, but that Thiel can join it as well. This guy, oh my goodness, never mind that guy. I'd be quite happy seeing them all go take a nice little dive. The problem is, it is a large part of the US economy. It is a large part of the US economy right now. Yeah, so it's the only way they can maybe keep a cap on the rates that have started to go up, by the way. Rates have started to go up. So let's lose our 1455. We're going, oh, we just ticked 1456 on the Korean one. I like it. I like it. We're making the money. We want to talk about our Palantir. Let's have a look how it finished today. We can do that as well. PLNTR. Demand destroying event is potentially the call. Maybe the N isn't there. That's it. That's the one you want. So how's it looking? Palantir. Let's go. We're in log scale, by the way. We can do reg. It'll look a bit more dramatic. That's quite an ugly sell. Are we sharing screen? We better check. Are we sharing screen? He's not sharing screen. Go share the screen. Let's do it. Thank God we pick it up nice and early. Here we go. There we go. Palantir. So that's quite a big rejection. By the way, on this, we called an upside on it quite some time ago. So if I just go back to log scale, there was a head and shoulders that we'd drawn quite some time ago. I'm not going to say I held this all this time. I didn't. We just draw often. That we draw way more than we trade. We're quite selective, but that was a big inverted head and shoulders. The neckline was 27.50. Wouldn't it be nice if it came all the way down there? And we've got a little bit of put action down at 175. I think it's been in the 200s there. Target was around 127 that was made there. You've gone a little bit higher since. Neckline was $27.50. Wow. Oh, wow. And by the way, there was a Monarch, which is what we call our smallest and nestled inside the beginning of it all. And that broke very violently there at 9 and trotted you into the double digits. So that was fun and profitable. Let's go back to the regular scale just to show you. It's quite a big move on this. They're not appreciating Burry's attention. We are weekly. So this is only the week so far. We've still got Friday, non-farm payrolls day, maybe. The government, she closed. I think it's been very productive for America. Anyway, so the high was 207, now trading 175. Quite a bit of a dip. How's our friend Lols? We've got a couple of Lols. We've got Lols Ellison of Oracle. I wouldn't mind seeing him take a little bit of a plunge as well. That's turning out real nice. This is also non-log. She had a real blow-off move. That was your phony 25%. Let's just have a little look at that. There's your gap, and all the insiders dumped in it. It traded as high as 345 down to 243. This was an entire Pumpermentals worked scam. It was like kind of, hey, I'll do a deal with ChatGPT AI. I tell you what, you guys, You can pay me 30 billion for data centers I don't have and haven't built yet. ChatGPT will pay me for that, and we'll promise to buy chips for those data centers from NVIDIA. We don't have the money yet, but we'll do it later when we start building the data centers. And you can pay me from revenue you're not earning yet. We are monetizing this thing yet. It's all just the government wants us to do this. We're all just front men for the Rockefeller, Rothschild families, Elon, Sam Altman, all these AI, Bezos. His dad set up DARPA. Don't forget, Bezos, a chosen one, dad, was involved, Mossad guy, basically in the NSA, CIA, all those years ago. Their kids are chosen ones and end up being little avatars, brilliant businesses. He built it in a garage, I promise you, in California, just like FaceAche was a dormitory in a university, and Apple was another garage. Yeah, those Californian garages. There must be some awesome fumes to inhale there. All these brilliant businesses. Whoops, I'm missing a super chat at $10. Thank you. We love you, Nico. Thank you, Nico, for your kindness. He's got a downside, or someone just above him has a downside of PLNTR at 80. We appreciate you, Nico. Thank you for sharing. It's very kind. That gap is now being closed on Oracle, but I think she can spill a little further. By the way, there's a name for a blow-off gap. I just gave it to you. It's a blow-off gap. You get the expansion gaps, and then you get the final blow-off, the exhaustive. The correct name is actually exhaustive gap. I'm not showing you in log scale, but I wanted you to see the drama of what a massive jump, 241, and the next time you open at 319. All the Trump insiders all were long and sold shortly thereafter. The pumpermentals and selling into the noobs and the Robin Hood brigade. You have no idea. It has gone to a next level of complete corruption. My friends, my beautiful friends, here streaming with me. We hopefully got our Kiwis and our Easterners, our Aussies. We've got some Hong Kong expats. We've probably got everyone from Fiji and everyone else. I want one person from the Fiji Islands. If you're in the Fiji Islands, say now in the comments. I want someone out there watching us right now. We're delighted. Thank you. There's 602 of you. So this is another one that is potentially a short. Equities, demand-destroying event, real weakness, a little bit of a bid back into dollar. We've shown you that Dixie chart on previous views. The dollar's going to firm a little bit. We've told you the yen goes to 172 and it's in the 50s. So that's also quite a bit of depreciation at the Eastern currency. So it won't only be the Korean one. Yen's weakening. That's a fair percentage it's got, but it's not doing so much right now. It's had a couple of big gap days. Now it's kind of chilling. They don't all run together, but the one is going to be the one that skips the hardest and hits the hardest. So we've got Oracle, Invid. How's Invid doing? Invid, let's have a look. NVIDIA Corporation, NASDAQ. There's a bit more spook about the markets, but there was an absolute blow-off. And that's being retraced. And that gives you a large shooting star. On a bigger time period, when you look at it like on a weekly, you have this big move and you have the whole, there's no follow through, there's no bid in the bid stack, it comes all the way back down. That is a particular time frame reversal, like a weekly reversal. You might already start to see it if I put this on the weekly time frame. We might need a few more trading days. We need a few more. Let's go and do 10 days. What the hell? Can we do 10 days? That should be getting close. Clear it up. Sort it out. Not quite. You see the red is, you want those two to be merged. So I need to do a fortnight. Okay, let's try a fortnight. I'm determined to make a shooting star for you. You see, right there. That's your fortnightly shooting star. And in fact, the bigger the time frame, the more significant it is. Burry's gonna make money. Listen to me now. You can buy puts. Burry is going to make money. I've got silver miners. I might even say, listen, it's going to be a little bit quiet for them for a while. I'm going to dump them, and even though they're not near their highs, and I'm going to pivot. That is a sexy ass candle. Where's my community? We're stumbling on some gold here together. Burry's going to make some money. That NVIDIA on a fortnightly. Thank you to Namaste 5257. We appreciate you too, and we give you a safe sign, $3. That's what we used to call it in South Africa. Safe, my mate. How's it? Safe, my brew. Yeah, lekker. That's what we'd say. So I see you've got it right there. Maybe you know even what that means, or maybe you just chose it randomly. That is a real reversal day on NVIDIA. It is. Of course, I've not got it on log scale. It's a big time frame chart. I should be doing that. I want a little bit of that drama to show. It does get toned down a bit when you do it in percentage log scale. It'll look quite a bit smaller. But interestingly, we've got NVIDIA in what we call an overperformance trumpet. That's right. And it is bang on our splitter in that, which could see it visit to the downside. It's only visited here and there and there. And if this is like a CV19 type event, you saw how hard it fell there. But this time we're in the middle. This could bring it down, and you could even break out of the overperformance channel. Technically, an overperformance channel only exists when you've had an upside HVF. You see that right there? Do you see it? I've got to put it in the right view so that everyone can see it. You see what we're teaching you here? There is a break, very low vol, very low vol. You see the low vol, the squeezes, the low vol, the squeezes, and up she breaks. Now, you close at the target 50% and you leave for overperformance, first biggest setup in the trend. New setup in a brand new trend. And you stay in it at an investment level all the way until you break either the lower line, you sell there, or if you pop out the higher line when you come back down and you hit it. So you let it blow off and you let it make you richer for a while. You only close if it comes back through the roof or it falls out through the floor. In other words, as long as it stays in there, you should have been net long NVIDIA. This has been one net long, and it served you very well, by the way. I mean, what was it down here? 36 cents, now $188. So, I mean, times it by 3 just to get to $1 and then 188. Listen, a lot of people have got absolutely flat out stinking rich by knowing to hold this sucker, I'm afraid. And I'm not going to claim I was one. I've been more into the other things, but that is a huge run. Sitting here, but don't worry, there's so many opportunities to build wealth. There's so many opportunities to build wealth. You don't have to be, you only really need to do one, maybe 2 or 3 if you don't do it big and you didn't start from a very high point. But you only really need to kill one trade like this and you made. Yeah, so that's just a real winner. That's a real winner, but it's a little bit of a shooting star. If we look at it here, you can see it now, and it's at a key splitter point. You could be falling to here and you might even break out of that if we have what could be coming. So thank you to Namaste and all the others that have dropped us a paid chat. We appreciate it. Super kind. What else is looking ropey under the Burry thing? So we've looked at Palantir. He's short that. We've looked at NVIDIA. I've suggested Oracle as well as deeply overrated. Which others are there? You might find Google goes down generally, but it's not just the HI. XRP and XLM will do on a crypto update. I don't want to get too deep in the weeds on crypto, but we are a little bit concerned for crypto at the moment. And if what we are now seeing, dollar getting bid up, a little bit of nerves, if tech and the AI thing is selling off, you don't want to be long. You don't want to be in the crypto. You really don't. It could be dangerous. However, on the super macro, big time frames, there are real great setups for coming, and we'll cover them again. But I think you might get a better buying opportunity lower down. So watch out. The higher the risk, the earlier people pull back. People have been walking away from Bitcoin. There's a third sell to come on Bitcoin. I'm actually got a small trading short on it at the moment. So if I take this off, it's the only one I'll do because it's the liquidity of crypto. You have a look at that. It's a little bit bearish. We're on a fortnight. You have a look at it over here. You've had one big sell event. You've had a rally and you've had another big sell event. That was a broadening structure. We posted this on X and said, this is not good. It's downside continuation. So you've made it here. You probably do something else and have a third sell. You typically have threes waves of selling. That's it, like that, 2 and then 3. So you can go up short term, but overall, I think you're going to have a third wave of selling, and that could be quite deep. If we go really contagion ugly, it doesn't mean it has to stop there. You can then, after 3 waves, have a long flag and then sell off even further. If we have a real stock market route, it could be hurtful. What about Bitcoin divided by gold? Because we also talk about gold all the time. How will gold fare? Well, it's had a bit of a blow-offy, a little bit of a correction, but Bitcoin is now underperforming, is my suspicion, the gold market. Let's go and put the eye on here and show you why. Is it monthly? Is it weekly? If you have a look at it, hold on. There we go. They've taken some of my lines off. I was using too many lines. How can they do that? It's crazy. You were using too many lines. We need our lines back, please. The computer says no. So that is a long-standing basing ascending grind line, and you've got all this price behavior. We're going to have lots to talk about tomorrow in the live trading day. I can't give it all away to you today. There's going to be a lot more that will have happened by then as well. We're going to have the news possibly before the news, but that is turning down, and you came out of that. You broke, you had a return move, you failed to make a new high. You were almost 41 ounces of gold to get one Japanese imaginary friend super internet money thingy from the NSA, and now you're down to 25.42. Now I can tell you I'm not giving you 25.42 either of my gold ounces for the Japanese friend that disappeared with the imaginary internet money and the Satoshi wallet that will soon be custodied by BlackRock. They will ensure a more equitable society. They'll give him a certain amount of time. He won't show up, no family members. And hey, well, we'll just look after it for him, and we'll fight against climate change and support the transgenders. Yeah, that's what they do. Happy days. And then all the Bitcoin maxis will go, yay, BlackRock. It's good that somebody's looking after this. We really love that you did an ETF and there's futures markets to control our asset that is there for our liberty and freedom, because they've stopped thinking. They didn't realize it was all about liberty and freedom, not getting in bed with the biggest Zio bankers that are now head of the World Economic Forum. What planet are you born in? How's that even a good thing in anybody's stupid, stuffed up mind? I ask you, with tears and snot running down my face, how stupid can you be? Anyway, on a more cheerful note, let's have a little look at something else. So gold, we do the gold update because, listen, gold can still be sold if there's really beastly stuff that goes down, but it's not unduly weak. You had a long wick there, but you've been sold off, and now you've had a bid back up that's brought you back to the border of the 4K mark. So it's not chronic, but I've got it on log scale. Does it look worse if I take it off? It will always to a degree, but we were going up super fast. So we're going to have to see what goes on. Let's have a look at it on a weekly basis. A little bit insider. That could be anything. It could be continuation, downside, or reversal. I wouldn't wail in here at this point. It's kind of chilling. It could be a continuation pattern downside, as I probably think. It's not much zip in it yet. We will have to see. That would typically be your on balance of probability. Still a possibility of a third sell. One big wave of selling, second wave of selling, longer continuation, maybe there's a third wave of selling. A little bit more cautious for now. When do we become back bullish? You get back into this zone again where you last had a rest. If you come and you do this and you squeeze here and you break up and you go here and then you make a little shoulder, we'll end up with a reversal head and shoulder. That's when we start to get more interested again. So we need to see a little bit of zip. We need that zip to come back. Otherwise, we continue to assume continuation. And that could be hand in hand with a downside correction on equities. And Michael Burry making money, loads of money. Time to buy puts on Palantir. Let's kill the status surveillance guys. Let's make them dip low. By the way, they win in the end. Government protection. It's the same as Amazon, your one new world order, internet buy everything company. brought to you by Rockefeller. Please, no competition. We are number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on Google. And you don't get to see the other guys. They're on page 47. That's right. Only buy from me. That's right. Kind of like, as I was mentioning today, Rockefeller once in the oil company trade didn't even pay. This is how schnoop they are and what psychopathic Talmudic weirdos they are. They paid their workers on all the oils. They were murdering people. They were press ganging people, forcing them to sell. They were beating people up. They were doing all sorts of real deep, dark stuff. And on top of that, they then he paid his workers with vouchers that they had to spend in his shops so that he got all his own money back. Not money. He eventually was forced by politicians to actually do what he should have done and give people real money. Thank you to user UN3RB92Q9Z for your $5. We really appreciate it. Real estate is slow as F. Lately in USA, thoughts. It will be slow and it will get worse if what we suspect is happening is happening. They've been masking the degree of the recession, I'm afraid. My dear beloved US friends, you are great people, but you are being hammered and you're going to be hammered hard. And I fear US will property will get cheaper. The one thing though is it might, if we have a real recession and a collapse, it might bring interest rates a bit down. But property is going to get cheaper. People are going to battle with affordability and jobs. Layoffs are higher than most people think, and it's not all to do with AI. It's a weak economy. It's a weak economy. Look at the oil price. Look at the oil price. Why don't I do exactly that? Why don't I answer user UN3RB and all the nines? Well, the oil price is also bad, and you will see that, and that has a bad effect on the property market because it is an indicator of consumer strength. They throttle the oil price. They control it. It's Rockefeller oil. It's Rothschild oil. Rothschild got Shell and, the European timeline, and Rockefeller got Exxon Mobil and the others. They broke them all up, but they just all do the same thing. It's like kind of, guess what? He got richer when they broke them all up. So if we have a look at this 10-year, it started to go up quite quickly, but now we're getting a little bit of the fear back again that could come down again. You see it slowed down. We were on the week, but now it actually came down today a little bit. I think there's a little bit of fear creeping back in, which brings a little bit of debt, a little bit of bid into the debt markets. Our chosen proxy for the long term, you see a little bit up. You had a gap down and traded red, and that's a little bit of a reversal one up. Not very strong, but it stopped the descent, and you closed higher than your entire range of the previous day. So you gapped up to the other side of it and traded up. So it still stopped a rather nasty little downturn from 92 to 89. You're back up at 89.8. So could be. So real estate, I think, boy, I wouldn't want to be a seller now. But if you can find a buyer, sell reasonably, even price below market, you're probably getting out. The others will be forced to follow you at a lower price later, and then they'll all be doing it, and then they won't sell as well. And then they'll have to go lower still. So sometimes when you recognize you're getting out, when I'm in a bad trade and the markets move violently against me, I get out quick. I just get out quick. It's not even about it. I got it wrong. We're supposed to break to the upside. It's actually a downside break. Out. Got it wrong. Recognize the mistake. First loss is best loss. Get out. Don't hang on and try to trade your way out. No. Don't die hard. My house is worth a lot. I'm emotionally invested. I laid that floor. It's flatter than any builder would have done it. No. Don't be stupid. Get out. Get your money. Pay off your debts. Do what you need to do. Downgrade if you have to. Hopefully upgrade. Become a community member, starting with a live trading day to get a sample of what it's like to be with us. It's kind of like this YouTube with a bit more detail for a longer time period on all markets, and you get to ask questions. You are asking a few here, and we certainly respect the people that are doing pay chats, or what do they call them, super chats. But yeah, same person. We don't change who we are just because we're on the other side of a paywall. So let's have a look at what else were we talking about? So oil, we mentioned oil. What's going down with oil? Well, I would expect oil might have had a tough day if we're getting a bit weak. Not so bad. It had a tough week so far, but you could be doing flag or a wedge. Not too sure which one, actually. It could be like that. You could get a wedge and you could cross over and actually have an upside bump. But you could also be doing a flag, which is also points to an upside. But you could also just, things could just get out of hand and skid. That's why there's no guarantees. It's probabilities and possibilities. Is it a high possibility that I can make a real accurate call here? Probably not. You had an upside gap here and you've come and you've closed the upside gap. Maybe it'll actually drift a little bit up on this short time view. It could drift a little bit up. More generally, it's been a dull market. If we open that up, you'll see how we've put it. This was a short from up top here, and it's been bleeding out to the downside. You did have quite a strong little bump there, though. It's also, Venezuela's a bit of a thing. Who knows what's going to go on there? We will see. So what other questions do you have for me? Yes, we measured Earth's curvature in physics 110. Yes, someone's on the flat Earth chain. Yep. It's interesting, I have to say. Bank reserves. So repo is weak. Let's just have a little look and deal with this repo thing. So we prefer Burry to all these other three stooges. And I think he's going to make money. It's great when you move into money. I think he's done well. I think he's moving into money. I think it's going to build. I think this could get a little bit disorderly. And the thing that adds to it is that repo market. The repo market. And the thing that helps that is the hedge funds with their 24-hour loan every day. Wow, that is such a scammy thing. I mean, imagine you were buying things on a credit card, which you are maxing out in a single day, then transferring the balance onto a new credit card that you're maxing out on the next day and rolling out and paying each one's fee and then settling it and moving it back on. This is just dodge. And the bulge banks, the primary dealers, are actually facilitating that fraud. It's not really a fraud. Technically, you can do it, but it's definitely a workaround. It's definitely not what the repo markets were designed to do. And it affects the money markets, who are the people providing the capital, who will have to be bailed out. So they'll socialize their losses and they'll privatize their gains. And too big to fail AI will do the same. We can't afford for these data centers to go bankrupt and not to have a surveillance financial grid that will be tracking, tracing you biometrically, social scoring you, and checking which crypto income you get so that we can ensure we tax you and basically in a very short period of time steal all your wealth so that you become a UBI serf and slave and have to take anything we say you have to. Otherwise, UBI be pulled, we control you, you are a sheep and we are the farmer, and every now and then we'll cull a few of you because there's too many sheeps around. That's kind of it. So repo markets, let's hear what's going on in repo markets. Let's have a look at X and what's going down. So a couple of people highlighting this, the repo markets. Last time, now this was huge. It came down really hard, the repo markets. Overnight repurchase agreements, treasury securities purchased by the Federal Reserve in the temporary open market. They had to come in real big then, and they are starting to come in real big now. Bear in mind, this is the beginning. It can spike a whole bunch higher. It can come in like that next and like that. And you could do a higher than high, who knows? So we are starting to see the warnings in that system. Although liquidity in the repo market being drained away, thanks to the basis trade and the Cayman Island hedge funds and many others that aren't there. The dominoes just spelled out their confession in 4K. Bloomberg drops forced selling risk. The exact same day, the repo markets, let's check this out, the repo market spikes and BNP starts sweating collateral. It's not a coincidence, it's a sequence. The chain is clear. By the way, Deutsche Bank, the dumbest bank in the room, was looking at how do they hedge their exposure to lending to AI, which is basically lending to government for the surveillance grid, which they hope to monetize someday, but way out in the future. They have to just build, because there's so many people. They need to track and trace and all that power they want. So, the return, you'll have the Amazon.com, $106 back down to $6. And guess who wears that? You do, because you'll have to bank it. Now, I started saying when I was talking about vultures, and I never completed that loop, and then I'm going to finish on one story that I will share with you. I started to say they are the vultures, and I was talking about a kettle of vultures, which is a flock of circling vultures. And then I told you that there's a committee and a wake once they're standing on you, picking the meat off your corpse. Those are two collectives for vultures, which is quite an interesting concept. And the repo markets and the selling that are going on here are going to bring down the bank, and they potentially, and they all need to be bailed out. So they are killing many birds with one stone, because they're building the surveillance grid. You're going to pay for it, because when they don't make any money for it, or not enough money for how much they borrowed to pay the interest thereon, they're going to bail them out, which is dilution of currency, which is inflation tax on you. You see, when governments overspend or do bailouts or print more money than they've earned, they are debasing your fiat. That is how they cause inflation, drag you into higher tax brackets, make your food cost more. Your food hasn't gone up. It's the same amount of work to grow pineapple today as it was 5 years ago, and it will be 5 years in the future. The activity is the same. How much of your devaluing coppers and fiat paper you give goes up because there's more of it around and it has been diluted. So by bailing out the surveillance grid, they get a chance to also reduce their debt by debasing the currency and make you poorer, which is exactly what they want to do. Remember, they want you as a UBI serf, totally reliant on your social score, doing everything they tell you what to do. If you say all hail Israel, they will make you say all hail Israel, and then you'll get your token, your digitally provided token that you'll have 3 days to spend on, none of it on stake or flights or anything else, because you've already utilized all yours. But if you want to buy carbon credits as issued by your local eco-government parastatalist, you can pay that extra tax and you might be allowed to fly. So that's kind of how it goes. So they're killing lots of birds with one stone. They're debasing debt, they're debasing fiat, they're creating inflation, hyper-stagnation. They've created a two-tier economy, a two-tier justice system, a two-tier everything. So you will be in the environment where their actions to their friends, where they're all taking bungs and sharing and overpricing and making a bunch of money in all the deals that they're doing, front-running the contracts they're awarding, pumping the casino, buying before and selling into, dumping the casino, selling before and buying back lower down, flushing you out, crash the stock market, any of the shares that they don't yet own in NVIDIA that's held by your ETF, making you poor. You have to sell your assets at the low, flushing you all out, buying it all in, buying it at the bottom prices so they get it super cheap after they've done the pump on part of their holdings. They get the other part once they dump you out, buy it at the bottom, all on insiders when they know they're turning the liquidity taps back on, because they know when they're going to do that. Debase the currency, get the stocks back up. They now own all the stocks. There's very few people, in fact, more and more and more people. The top 1%, I think, owns the better part of 50% of the stock market. And they want that. They're not happy with that. They want the top 1% to own 99% of the stock market. There's still some guys that have got some shares that have gone up. They don't want that. That aren't part of their cultic cult. And until they fix that, they're not going to be happy. So Bank of America warns of stock selling, of forced stock selling if credit problems persist. Bank of America bought 500 billion of bonds back in 2020. Those things have fallen 55% as per the TLT. So the debt-based crash is obviously weakening the banks, and they will also get bailed out. They got bailed out in COVID. Many people don't realize that. More so than in subprime. They bailed the banks in COVID. Over 20 trillion went to an assortment of banks, which also included offshore banks. The Fed bailed Swiss banks, the dumb banks, because they kind of feel obliged, because they sold them the poison pill of all the Detroit debt on the ninja signed loans. You see, it's all the legacy families. They don't belong to a country. They are transnationalist forces that are running the world. They'll live anywhere. They've got billions. They will exploit countries. They'll move on. They are parasites that float from host to host. dragging. BlackRock is an internationalist organization, asset manager that exists in many countries in the world. They can increase their weighting here, there, and everywhere. The Oppenheimers own the gold mines over here, a branch of the Rothschilds. They listed them in London. That became the more busy listing when they used to be in South Africa. The diamonds, the gold, it all got moved. The owners of the mines with the assets in the ground, still in South Africa, but the owners thereof are sitting in London driving Bentleys, and now they're leaving there. They're going to go somewhere else, maybe Singapore, Dubai, all their cousins out in the desert that run a real cacocracy, where you chop up journalists in Turkish embassies if you criticize the government. That's their cousins. That's what they like to do. They're violent, aggressive, they're spies, and they're murderers. And you can't criticize them. That's what they do, friends. That's what they do. So that's where the world's going. Cheer up now. Cheer up. It's all going to be okay. Join us for live trading day. We'll flush out more trades. We're going to take you back to the Korean one and see where it all started. And then I'm going to tell you a story. It's a great story. In fact, I want to show you a picture that went with that story. I'll pull it up. It's actually in our Substack now. Ooh, we're going higher. 1455.58. It's looking good. It's looking good. I like it. I like it. I like it. So that is a re-break of this high over here, my best people. And that is it's a re-trigger. We've already had the feign back. I've explained that, and I expect the stock markets to be going down in Korea, but I think it's also going to be a case. There is a DDE about all of this. I just think Korea ends up with a bigger problem at the tail end of it when it really goes mad. Watch that. Keep an eye out for Korean-based news, but you're going to have demand-destroying event-based news first. And we'll be talking all about that on non-farm payrolls day, our live trading day. Link, post the link, Francis, post the link. Yeah, there she goes. You can join us. It doesn't cost a lot. 195, 197 for you to visit us for 3 hours. We'll do cryptos. We'll take your questions. I tend not to want to close a session till everybody's questions been answered, and all of that. So yeah, you get well looked after, and we'll talk about it. And we'll look for specific trades. Oh, we got another one. Macmillan GB. Thank you. Would love to see you chat with BC Backer. Love from Commie Canada. He says, thank you, first of all, for the kind donation towards our work. We appreciate you for that. I don't know who BC Backer is. Can you tell us more? And if you would like to take a link of our channel and put it to him, we love having new guests. We love talking to new smart people, especially if you think they're relevant. And I'm sorry about Commie Canada. It's kind of like that in Australia as well. It's kind of like that in New Zealand. It's kind of like that in the US. Get out the West, guys. I know it's not easy. You don't have to leave entirely straight away. Start going somewhere else and looking at it with a more permanent eye for a few months, a year. Then you start setting up. You don't feel at home straight away. It's going to be places that you used to look down on. I don't look down on places, but some people do. They always say, I'm first world nation. I live in America. I live in Europe. I live in the United Kingdom. I live in Canada. No, you go to the other places that are in uptrends. You see, the good news about a capital collapse and a black hole that's going to suck the oxygen out of the room for the West, and the liquidity that's going to go with that's going to die, is that the money leaves and it flows somewhere else where it's going to be treated better. It's like water. It always finds a level. If it's not a good place for it to be, it goes somewhere else. If you tip the tin, the water flows somewhere else. It doesn't disappear. It doesn't disappear. It gets employed elsewhere. So other places are going to get more saturated with capital. We've spoken about which indices are going to be climbing when these ones crash. Now, they might correct a little bit now if we have a demand-destroying event, but they're going to be the overperformers. They're going to be the future overperformers that you will benefit from. You don't have to sit in Commie Canada. You can still go visit family, be a beachhead for other family members so that they have someone outside when they realize what you've realized. They've been gaslighting you, and then they wake up as the doors are starting to shut. They realize. Be the leader who jumped, who moved, first mover, the thinker, the person that built the bridge so that they can escape too. Be that guy. You have the wisdom. You have it. You work on it. Deal with it. Take it. Own that responsibility, and save your people from Commie Canada. And, by the way, go and visit it and love it for its best part of it. without being any more a citizen. Visit like a tourist who just happens to know his way around much better and has got friends and places to stay. Go and do that. You're never leaving it. You're not leaving really. You're just severing the tie of residency and taxation and all the other dirty things they want to do as part and parcel of stripping you. Tax scavenge mode, guys. Tax scavenge mode also had the, let me just bring that up. Tax scavenge mode, which we've discussed. We've done a thumbnail because other people started talking about it and pretending it was their word. This is tax scavenge mode, and there's my vultures. And that's you. You're on the menu. Your wealth, anyway, financially. And in some senses, even your life. We don't want that. Legal stats, all that. Save yourself. There's never been a vilification of Europeans or a particular ethnicity that didn't follow a genocide. Go read on the Bolshevik revolution. Don't get utilized as meat fodder for some war. Get out, watch this from afar, get safe, have optionality, go visit. You can still visit. You can wind up things. You have more time than you think. You have way more time than you think. We started this journey, and each time I'm more impressed when I look back of how much we got done. But it took a while, and there was a bit of a headache, and you had projects. Some things move slowly, but eventually, a few years pass, and you've got, man, I've got places to stay, furnished, nice places I like to visit, and I own this, and I have that, and in some ways I prefer this part in this country to that one in that country. Pay less tax, earn some money through your trading, utilizing HVF method, build wealth. Anyway, so back to this. When governments that have been covertly taxing you, so this is what we said on this. Let me see if I can make it bigger. It's probably going to drop down. Let's do share screen. I am doing share screen for once in my lifetime. I'm not completely stupid. Governments, when governments that have been covertly taxing you, because they are, inflation and overspending to their income means dilution and debt issuance, which is going to lead to deval of currency. The fact that they create debt, remember, it's new fiat with a timeline. That's all it is, and a rental payment. So because they do that and they are cheating you covertly, when they can no longer do that because of the excessive debt expenditure they've already made, and the bond market doesn't allow them to do more or not as easily and affordably, what they get forced to do is they revert, that means a pivot, to more totalitarian, that's bossy, aggressive, direct tax initiatives. And we've already started to see this. We said this in 2021. What we're now seeing is United Kingdom, The Guardian. We're going to take anybody who leaves the country, exit tax 20%. And it's going to comply with future G7 directives, which involves a whole bunch of other countries, including Canada, America, Japan, European countries, France, Germany, Italy, and the European Union generally, as well as the United Kingdom. And these are the countries that have the debt problem. It's not Russia that has a debt problem. They sorted theirs out. They've got gold. They're not taxing 20% a Russian who wants to leave Russia and move somewhere else. They're not doing stuff like that. Not even China is doing stuff like that. And further cuts to your services and social contracts. Your garden's not going to get done. Your communal areas, the bit and the islands in the middle of the road. You're going to watch the decline of your nation. Garbage that was collected once a week will be collected twice a week. Twice a week will become once a month. You're going to have to do more of the work, and they're going to charge you more for it. That's what happens. Because they don't have the same contribution to the local municipalities coming from the national government, because the national government can't keep borrowing on the overdraft like it once did, because the interest rates have gone up. Borrowing has become too expensive or untenable. So they will pivot from the silent, passive taxation of you, where they are non-aggressive, to a more direct, invasive, intrusive, aggressive, new tax directives that actively come with you. And because they don't ask nicely, they make it your problem and they assert it. Because if they're going to take something from you, they want to come across powerful and strong and aggressive, and you shall comply. Rather than saying, hey, we're kind of in a spot here, we've overspent, the previous guys dug a big old hole, we can't do it anymore, we all need to put more money in, can you please, don't mind, No, they don't talk to you like that. Totalitarianism. They lock you in, they close you out, they tell you how it's going to be because you spend too much and keeping you guys alive and paying for your mother's pension. That's why we're in this situation, and you bloody well will pay, and we're all in this together, and it's time you pay. Never mind how much bungs they're taking on the military-industrial complex, contract awards, all the other stuff, the pharmaceutical awards for the intrusive March 2020, the governments, Rishi Sunak, all of them. No, they're all going to be doing that. So that is what's happening, friends. That is what's happening right here, right now. 611 of you. We appreciate all the likes. So that's how they're killing lots of birds with one stone. Now, I want to finish on this pretty great story, and it's about community. And it's about the Great Depression. You see that picture? Maybe I can make it a bit bigger as well, make it pop. That is a very grainy shot from what was known as a penny auction. And you might notice two nooses kicking around, hanging from the barn right there. And a bunch of good old fellas, grainy photo back then. So let me tell you the story. We don't need any more of the picture, or maybe I'll leave the picture up and do it. And actually, I saw this as from a Turkish friend. And it goes kind of like this. It goes, in fact, let's leave it on the noose. Let's keep it morbid. Let's leave it on the noose. So it goes like this. A penny auction was essentially it was 1936 typically. And this was just post the Great Depression, that the banking cartel created a pump scheme. Everyone became bucket traders, as they were. You remember the story of Jesse Livermore, et cetera, and there were bucket punting casino shops. I mean, America's a casino, if anything. The Mag 7 is the status casino chosen ones by the Lord families that are making business controlling you. But anyway, 36, lot of depression. Farmers were losing their properties to the banking cartel. They were doing foreclosure events. And the foreclosures were done on site. They would sell the farm, the barn, the horses, the wagons. And what they actually had is you would have all the farmers and neighboring people be attendees, along with the banker auction boys. And the penny auction was such that if you thought to be a vulture, and we've been talking a lot about vultures today, and to buy cheap your own farm, and you happen to have money and you came from out of town someplace, they probably might hang you some from their barn. And in fact, one designated neighbor would bid 1 penny for an item, and it wouldn't go much further, and there would be no further bid, and the banks would be forced to sell to their neighbor for a penny, and soon the entire proceeds of the land, the property, and all its work farm, with this destitute family that were being squeezed out due to the pump and dump and liquidity withdrawal. They would give you loans and call them in when it was the worst time, and onerous criteria to try shake you out and become owners of your stuff. That's right. That's what they were doing. Predatory lending, predatory everything. The community and neighbors bought the farm and no one else bid. And all its contents for literal pennies, and there would be no further bid, and the banks, due to the legalities, would be forced to accept the only bid that was offered, and the farm and all its goods would be returned, which was essentially a home for a family that was homeless. The rest of the community showed up, backed, and watched that nobody got smart and took your stuff. Because it was about all the hard work, all the years, all the goodness you had done, whether they were your friendly neighbor or not. They backed each other, they secured each other's possessions, and they gave them right back to the neighbor so that he could continue again to A, have a house, B, have an existence, and his family, hers family, children, and everyone else, and start again. With a clean slate, obviously, because the bank foreclosed on all their debts, no lumbering under an onerous loan. That, my friends, was a clever community-based tactic that needed a little bit of force and a degree of threat, lest no man get some crazy, greedy-ass ideas of picking something up on the cheap when they were all subject to the predatory conduct of a malicious, aggressive, weaponized banking system of pump and dump schemes designed to draw you in on the good times, get you labeled with debt, put you on the wrong side of a compound interest equation, suck all the blood out of the system at the worst possible moment, inflict it on as many people as possible so that you could not get funding anywhere else from any other banks at the most critical time you need it, and take your property. And I'm warning you, this is the modus operandi that is coming for all of us. And I am standing here with you now. Make your vows with your brothers and sisters, with the other community members. You're here and you're in this together, and you are looking after each other, not blind, po-faced corporations that are feeding like vampires on your flesh, not vulture organizations that are active practitioner of amoral practices in a bid to feast on utter greed and separate you from your physical assets that you deserve and have worked from. That here is my preach to you all. I will be live trading day tomorrow, and it will be 7:30. It is 17 minutes past 10 today. It's time you were amongst people that were friends that had your back. It's not just about money. I talk about money a lot. Build wealth, build protection for your wealth, but the community, the freedom, that people that straight away when I come here, I can check in, that support, the on the ground mates, the people that don't gaslight you, don't psyop you, know your stuff, and will be bidding that penny for your assets and putting it straight back in your hand where it was never meant to leave. When the cartel comes to feed, you chase those predators to the next door. We are looking after each other. If you recognize something of value in what I'm just saying, you come on down and start making the right kind of friends and meeting the right kind of people, setting up hubs, locations outside of the West where you will have a better chance of surviving without the predatory, satanic, absolute blood-sucking, vampirical, parasitic setup that is designed to separate you from all your years of hard work and possessions that will deny you a respectful retirement in good lifestyle and freedom. That's what I want for all of us. That's what drives me. Thank you for watching. Hit the like, sign out, join on the link. I've shared it, and I've shared it. Hopefully this is it again. You're welcome to join us for that great moment later on. Tomorrow for me, it's 20 past 10 in UTC5. That'll be at 7:30, and we'll see what goes. Thank you for coming on, and much love to you all, and we'll see you then. By the way, if it's not a good time when we do it, you will get a full recording, and you will have 3 months of access. If you take 2 payroll days, you will get the third for 3, or a full month if you take the 1 at $197. And you should come away with trades, confidence in what you're aiming to do, and a little bit of a taster of what we're all about. Till next time, I say good night. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.